Hey everybody, welcome on in here to Northwoods TCG. Thank you guys everybody for joining. Once again, greatly appreciate it. I see there's already some people watching, so be sure you hit the like button as you join in here. We just got in from baseball, got this set up quick, and here we are tonight. Talk about, of course, as you can see, the end of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is sooner than we think. That's right. Just a couple days ago, I was asked on a live, were we going to be seeing more of Scarlet and Violet, or was it going to be the end of Destin's Rivals? Well, I do still think that there is going to be, of course, Black and White. We do know that there's going to be one more set. And we just got news that they're going into Mega Evolution. So if you guys have been to Pokemon.com, Pokemon has made announcements now as well. So I got that pulled up here talking about Mega Evolutions, where we're at right now, where that's going. So yeah, it sounds like the kind of the consensus is, and looking at the actual Pokemon cards that they have listed on Pokemon Center. And what I'm going to do is going to put this up here real quick so you guys can see it for yourself. I'll put this up and I will pin this in here. So this is right on the Pokemon's website. This is where this is coming from. But there's also been information on Poke Beach. There's been Poke Guardian. There's also been a bunch of reliable sources putting up here right now discussing the fact that the new Megas are coming. So we got Mega Lucario EX. We have got a Mega Gardevoir EX coming, and that's the ones that they're showing so far. Kind of the two that they've got highlighted on their website, talking about the Mega Evolution series begins. And the real question was this going to be part of Scarlet and Violet, or were we going to see a change? Now, it doesn't quite fit with the Black and White scheme, which is kind of interesting considering we're going to Z to A. But according to Poke Guardian, that this new set, this Mega Evolution set, will not be part of Scarlet and Violet, and this will actually be a new era. So interesting kind of information that's coming out there. So that could mean, and this set is supposed to release in September from several sources, Poke Beach, Guardian, of course some other online sources, and then I have talked to the distributor about it. I talked to Jake at the distribution and my rep, and he said that they really don't have anything for sure for what the layout's going to be, you know, what we're looking at for that part of things, or how this is all going to lay out. So right now, it's all still speculation on release date and stuff. Of course, as we get closer to the release of Black and White, probably the 2 weeks before Black and White's release, we're going to get all the information that we're looking for on this set. So let me know, guys, what do you guys think about this revelation that we might be here at the end of Scarlet and Violet, possibly a little bit early compared to what we were actually, originally thinking? Because I thought there'd be one more set. Now, they are doing the 11 set. Some people said that Destin's Rival was going to be the last one. Obviously, we made it past that one with the Black and White set now, but the Black and White, it sounds like it may be the end. And that's kind of what the news is kind of rolling around right now. So if it will be, it's going to be kind of interesting. Is there going to be a Mega set in there? I could see them changing it for Megas if Megas are returning, coming back. Of course, with Z to A being released, we're getting the return of Megas in the actual TCG. So, or in the actual game. So, as soon as you say TCG in the game, so of course, Megas are coming back in the TCG. They just kind of run hand in hand. So, that's what we're seeing right now. And it's really good information for people that are planning. And a Scarlet and Violet, no news of new starters. Are we just taking old starters, bringing them back? It's kind of up in the air right now what we're going to be seeing. There's not a lot of information currently. But of course, as we get closer and closer to the release of Black and White, we're going to be getting more and more information. So personally, I'm still skeptical on it just because of tournament play. They do usually try and keep a uniform amount of sets in there. Will it maybe shift some things? I don't know. Person to ask on that, maybe know more information, would be Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom would probably have some very good information on what implications this could see for like worlds, how rotation would change. Because you're going to move some of these sets kind of backwards a little bit. I don't know if it's going to make a big deal or if that's going to change things either. So there's going to be some real interesting information as we move forward of how this is going to happen. Considering we are one set short, we have no information on new starters. We have no information on, you know, if this is for sure. But this has been the big speculation right now, guys. And when I see Poke Beach and I see Poke Guardian and some of the other sources start putting this up, I definitely start to see there's some validity to possibly that is exactly what's going on. And it would make sense for them to change over the format at that point in time. It's just surprising to me that Black and White is still going to be in Scarlet and Violet, and then they're going to bring back Megas. So, yeah, good news. Megas are returning. We will be seeing Megas coming up here in just the near future. Probably around the fall session, sometime around that September, October range is what we're kind of looking at right now. So that's going to really change things up again, bringing them back. And like I said, it looks really, really good cards. I'm kind of curious to see with us going into a new era, are they going to have the same illustrator rares? Are the secret illustrator rares going to be a thing? Are we going to see alternate arts coming back? Is that going to all change, as we're moving forward with that? So that's going to be all information that we're going to be curious about as well as we're coming forward. So there's a lot of things that we're kind of looking forward to see how things are actually going to work. And if you look, the Mega cards look really good. I'm glad they're bringing Megas back. I always did like the Mega style of cards and the Mega idea and the gameplay, even on Pokemon Go. It's a really fun aspect of the game, and they really haven't embraced the VMAX side of things. And at this point in time, the EX era has been pretty weak when it comes down to that. And yeah, like iPhone will just put on here, I've been ready for Megas. Yeah, I've been ready for Megas too. I thought they were already coming before this. So the fact that now we do have true announcements from Pokemon saying that we now have a stepping point to where we know we can move forward and that this is where we're going to go, how things are going to happen is now we're going to get a Mega set coming up in the fall. So we do know if that's going to happen. The real question is right now is it going to be Scarlet and Violet, or is it going to be a new era at that point in time? And my speculation is, and from sources, is that that's going to be the shift. That's where we're going to shift. And it makes more sense at that point. V-Stars, they started it in the last 4 sets. So they did a mechanic change in Scarlet and Violet at Brilliant Stars where they brought in the V-Star lines and kind of got rid of the VMAX. So all the VMAX alternate arts went away and we only got V alternate arts of that plate. So that kind of changed that whole setup and changed that dynamic early on in Scarlet, or early in the last year, or right at the beginning of the last year of Sword and Shield. So that was really something that happened early. For them to introduce Megas on the very last set of Scarlet and Violet really doesn't make much sense for the gameplay to only have one set of Megas before changing, unless they're extending the Scarlet and Violet era. That's something that I don't think anybody's brought up. I don't know if that's been even looked at or discussed, is are they going to extend the Scarlet and Violet era? Because we aren't getting information on new starters. By now, we should be having information on new starters. If there are new starters, are they going to pull old starters? I mean, what are we doing with the new gen? Is ZA going to be using the black and white starters for the setup on that? Are we going to go back to that setup? Are we going to see regional variants in that one? I mean, there's a lot of information that's still missing, kind of holes all over the place when it comes down to where this is all going to lay out. But right now, Poke Beach, Poke Guardian, a lot of different places are absolutely set on the fact that Scarlet and Violet is ending after the black and white set's release. And the next set will be a Mega Evolution set. And that Mega Evolution set is going to be a new era in the Pokemon TCG. So more news will be coming out here about that, I'm sure, in the next few months, for sure, as we're leading up to black and white. And Destin's Rivals just around the corner, guys. We're only a couple days away from the release, pre-releases of Destin's Rival here coming up on Saturday will be the first pre-release tournaments. And we got the release coming just the week after that, so on Friday. So it's flying, guys. We're coming up on the next set. Destin's Rival is going to be hitting the stores here in the near future. So definitely, if you guys are looking for that stuff, be ready to rock and roll for your investment sides of things. Try and get those things at rock bottom. Anything at MSRP at this point is going to be very, very good buys. Destin's Arrival is definitely showing that it's going to be a hot set. Even the pre-release stuff, the early release stuff is going really, really good. So it's going to, I feel, going to be a very, very good set out of the gates. And I think that there's going to be some good opportunities even for that short term, getting investment in there with value right off the bat. So it's always nice to have that investment that you put away and it's got value straight off the bat and ready to rock and roll. You're getting something right off the start. So once again, it's looking really, really good for that information as well. Destin's Rivals, like I said, I got pre-release tournament coming up on Saturday, so I'm pretty excited to get in and get in on a pre-release tournament. That's going to be fun now. But my LGS hasn't gotten their their pre-release boxes, so they're kind of concerned that they're not going to be getting those either. So even pre-release boxes are getting chewed up and not being sent to the right places, because if you're a sanctioned store, you should have access to those, especially long-standing. He's been the one that I always go to, has been long-standing since 2016, 2017. They've been a sanctioned Pokemon shop, and they have not got their built-in battle boxes yet. And they don't know if they're going to have them. So they're hoping to have them by Saturday. But who knows? Who knows what's going on right now with Pokemon? But I think we've kind of gotten a hint to something I wanted to bring up if people do not know. I'm also going to put up another link here. I'm going to try and get these links into the stuff here as well. This is going to be a Reddit link that we got going on right now, and I think we might have found what Pokemon is printing on the side at Millennial Print Group, which is another very interesting fact. And I know we talked about this on the live on Thursday or on Sunday's live. So on Sunday's live, we talked about this. There's two different versions of this. So I'm going to put this in the chat as well. And this is going to be a link. No, it doesn't like me. Let me see if I can get the short link. Hold on. Let me get the short link. But yeah, we've got some interesting information coming in down the pipes about the Pokemon in general on what they might be printing. And they might be printing sports cards now. Fun fact that if you didn't know that, we've had a really interesting revelation here about what Pokemon's been doing because of the fact that we have cards coming in with actual weird with here we go. I'm going to put this here. With football players' names under the holo foil. And I actually did see one of these in person. So this isn't something that is strictly like an oddity, that's something weird. I actually saw the Sylveon version of this one. So with the Blake underneath it, I don't remember what the last name, Blake Corum is underneath there, underneath the holo. So I put the link in the chat for that as well. If you guys are interested to see about that information, that on the reprint of Prismatic Evolutions on the newest ETBs, we are seeing these underlaying where Pokemon has got football players' names underneath the holofoil, underneath the mat or underneath the Pokeballs, and they're underneath the Pokeball Sylveon and the Execute Pokeball, not the Master Ball, but just a standard Pokeball. So yes, we are seeing that come through as well. That we've been wondering what Pokemon's been focusing on, why they can't get printer space. We were speculating, a lot of us were speculating in the background that it was going to an Asian market, that they were just printing Japanese and Chinese cards, and then they were shipping them overseas. And that's why we were seeing a reduction in the amount of print here, is that they were just staying the same here because those markets were growing, and they've been pushing those markets that we know that they have been doing now for quite some time. But now it looks like they might be doing something else with the fact that we have Pokemon cards with, of course, football players underneath. So we got football players' names underneath the holofoil. That's an interesting revelation. And when I sit there and look at that, it's very interesting because it's hard to explain if Millennial Print Group is only printing Pokemon cards or only focusing on their TCG. Why would they have anything football inside of their facilities? Why would these even be possible unless Pokemon and under a Millennial Print Group is printing football cards as well? So that's a really interesting little piece of information that may be giving us a glimpse behind the doors of what's happening at Pokemon and why they're not changing their focus and why they're not changing their direction. That maybe Millennial Print Group and with their contracts is making more money printing these than they actually are on their Pokemon products. So they're making choices. Choices are that they're going to print football over Pokemon to a point, and we just got a glimpse of possibly that. Once again, completely hot take. I don't know if that's exactly what they're doing. I'm going to be 100% clear. It's all speculation, but when I see that kind of print happening, it looks like it's underneath the holo, so I don't know if anybody's tried to strip that back and see if it's in the underlayment or if it's under somewhere else. But I do want to give you guys the links down below. I'm going to try and do that in the chats now, especially on the lives when we're having a live chat where I can actually put it forward so you guys can look at it either now or later. So it will be recorded for the future as well for anybody that's watching these. So yeah, it's been a really interesting week when it comes down to misprints. There's also a Roaring Moon misprint out there we found out. So if you're looking for the later one of Temporal Forces, so the second reprint has what they call a Ghost Holo or a Phantom Holo underneath the name of the Roaring Moon. Just the regular holo card has got like a shadow of a holo underneath it where it's slightly misaligned. So that's another one. I mean, we're seeing a lot of weird misprints right now because it seems like Pokemon's rushed trying to do whatever they're doing, but trying to fit in something Pokemon in between. Prismatic has got misprint issues. So basically, the last few reprints that we've seen here right now at this point in time have had printing issues come about, whether it's something underneath the holo that's showing through, or the holo misalignments. There's a lot of things happening right now that we are seeing in the Pokemon thing, which is number one, going to give another facet to the market, something else that people can chase if they're looking for it. Am I going to be opening up Prismatic myself to try and find these error cards? No. Last one I saw did get it coming up here. So they did sell on eBay for about $400 for both of those two. So they went for a really good price. Whether or not that market's going to hold, depending if it's on every single one of them on this latest reprint, I don't think that market price is going to hold, because it's going to be a pretty common error if that's the case. I mean, Pokeballs aren't as common as reverse hollows, so there is going to be that rarity already to it. But if it's on every single one of the Sylveon cards in the reprint and every single one of the Execute cards on the reprint and possibly more, these are the two that I know have just come out here. This came out by end of April was when this was actually released on Reddit, but it's really getting some traction, especially with the recent release at GameStop. My GameStop rep actually showed me this, and then we talked about it on the live on Sunday. So yeah, it's starting to move around, and we're starting to see more and more about this here as we're going forward. Investment side of things. So I want to touch a little bit on the investment side of things here at the beginning before we get too far into the live and get into just the open questions and things like that. Is when it comes down to investments right now, Destin's Rivals is definitely going to be the one that I'm going to be focusing on personally. If I'm looking for that investment side of things, I'm going to pick it up at the store, because I'm going to end up selling everything that I get through distribution. Wow, I can't talk right now. Through distribution, I'm going to probably sell most of that stuff on my shop, and then I'm going to go out and try and find some of the stuff as close to MSRP as I can. The better pricing I can get on it, of course, the better that I have an investment on it, trying to put away some of this stuff. Not able to fill my shelves with what I can get at distribution, so I'm hoping that maybe I can get some more value on things coming forward as well. So basically, Destin's Rivals right now is going to be the target on that. I'm not going to be targeting singles. Singles are going to go up really high, and then they're going to start as pre-release continues. After the release date of it, then we're going to see the singles drop, just like we've seen with every other set. I mean, it's pretty common. I think it's common knowledge that that's what's going to happen for most people on the investment circles is we are going to have that pre-release boom. Everybody's going to be trying to make money right off the bat, and then we are going to have that retract after that, where the prices are going to drop and go back, and they're going to slowly reduce back in price, and that's going to be the seesaw motion that's going to happen. And then after a while, we might see it start to gain some more money and start going the other way again. So it's really, really going to be that kind of up and down movement. I think that there's a lot of cards like that Mewtwo are going to do really well. I think that there's going to be some really good cards inside of the set in general that are going to pop off and be very, very popular. Whether or not they are going to take over the premiums and, be what they, how fast they're going to drop and come back is really going to be the question. It's going to come down to, are we going to see any more product? Are we going to see anything? All these things are going to be questions that we're going to have when it comes down to where we are for value. So I'm going to pull open the Destin's Rivals list here real quick and get that listed up here, because I want to sit here and take a look at some of these cards, because I know the Mewtwo is going to be inside of there. That's going to be a really, really good card. I think it's probably one of the better Mewtwo. Not going to say I still think it could be a little bit better. I always feel like they lackluster the Mewtwo's on here, but I do still think that there's going to be some good value to this. I think it's a decent card. I think it's good. But once again, I feel like it's a little bit lackluster compared to what it could be when it comes down to some of these, but that's just my opinion. I know some people are going to be completely on the other side of it as well, that it's one of those really, really great cards. I think the Team Rocket's Meowth, really, really cool card as well. Why can't I pull open the set list? It keeps giving me like these partial lists. And I'm trying to get the full list because I did want to take a look at these and take a look at what we got for the lists here. And for whatever reason, the sites that I usually use are like not loading for some reason. Hot take: Prismatic Evolutions, the best set in Scarlet. I haven't opened. I think we're all there. I've barely opened anything of it. I mean, I've opened like 2 ETBs with my kids. That's it. So yeah, I haven't opened much for it myself either. The only cards I've gotten out of it, I've actually just purchased them myself. I didn't sit there and open them. Let me see here. So looking at the cards here. Yeah, the Rockets Moltres is definitely going to be a good one. I got that one right here. Blaziken, I could see Houndoom. I love the Houndoom card personally. I think that that's a really, really nice card on that one. Misty Psyduck, again, we got Cynthia. She's going to probably take a little bit of demand on that one as well. Like I said, the Meowth, really, really hot card in my opinion. The Mewtwo, definitely going to be one of the chases on this particular set as well. So we got the Giovanni and Mewtwo, I think is a really cool card. The Nidoking, a really cool card as well. I do like that. The Garchomp, Cynthia's Garchomp, another one. I think a lot of these SIRs in here are going to be fairly good. The Moltres, the Yamaga, probably not. The Crobat's a cool artwork. I think it's a little bit underrated with all the Golbats with the Crobat. I don't know if anybody's watched that or seen that. I think that's going to be that's going to be on the line. I think someone like me is going to really like that with that dark persona, kind of like the Mewtwo. But that's it's going to be a hit or miss on that one. I think it's going to do well. The Moltres, the Oho, definitely going to be, or Ho-Oh is going to be a good one. Garchomp, I love the Giovanni's Nido King or King as well. I think a lot of these secret illustrator rares are going to do really well. The Omega and the Mastiff are probably going to be your two lackluster ones when it comes down to that. I think the Giovanni card's kind of cool as well. I think that's a fairly decent card. Going back to the illustrator rares, so if we do go back to those ones, overall, I think that they're decent artworks. The Meowth is definitely going to be, Giovanni and Meowth are going to be one. Misty and Psyduck are going to be fairly popular. The Houndoom is definitely going to be up there. Typhlosion. I am kind of like the simplicity of Rapidash as well. That's just me. That's kind of my art style. I kind of like that simplicity to that one. And also Cynthia and Roserade are definitely going to be. Lapras is Misty and Lapras are going to be fairly decent as well. So I think that there's some really good cards in here. I think that this is a fairly decent set when it comes down to chases in it. You're not going to be too disappointed, I don't think, with very many of the illustrator rare. I mean, the Cloyster probably not going to be huge. The Murkrow, not really going to be anything gigantic. We go back once again. Yama, not going to do it. There's a Shaman card. It's okay. I mean, Crustle, what? Yeah. I mean, there's some of them that are just not going to be very, because they're not fan favorite Pokemon. Rotom will be slow at first, and I think it'll catch on a little bit later. But Eradicate, I'm just reading through them and looking at them myself personally. The hot take, I don't really have any hot takes. I think that that's going to be pretty much laying out based on fan favorites and what people enjoy in this set. And I think that that's exactly how that's going to be driven when it comes down to these illustrator rares. Go for the fan favorites first, shoot for them early. As soon as you see that price start dropping, shoot for those first before they retract faster. Some of the other ones like Greedent and all that may fall a lot further. The Zamazenta is a really cool card. I think that that's a really awesome artwork. I just still don't think there's enough Zamazenta fans to really warrant an illustrator rare where people are going to really pay big money or really try and get that for their collection. So that's just my thoughts on that one. So yeah, overall, I think it's going to be a good set. I think Destin's Rivals is definitely going to be better than Journey Together, in my opinion. I think the Journey Together was semi-lackluster, but I definitely think the Destin's Rivals definitely has what we are looking for when it comes down to that nostalgic, along with some new. Looking at some of the other stuff, I think that's definitely going to do well for the near future, and I think it's definitely going to be a good chase inside of this particular set as well. All right, guys, so there we go. We made it through the first 22 minutes here. Release date is May 30th for Destin's Rivals, just so you guys are aware. Pre-releases will be starting here on Saturday on some locations, next Saturday in other locations. They'll kind of spread them out between the next 2 weeks. That way you guys know that if you want to jump in and get into a pre-release, it's possibly a good opportunity to get some of these packs ahead of time and have some fun opening them for yourself at a reasonable price, because they only charge, I believe it's like $24 or $23.99 or $23.98 for the pre-release. You get a preset deck with a stamped card inside of it, along with 4 packs of Destin's Rivals. You get to have some fun, build your decks, get to play with a deck that's already pre-made for you, only 40 cards, a little bit quicker round at that point as well, so a little bit more fun. That's just, personally, I like pre-release. It's fun to get into it and just enjoy it with friends and just take it easy. You're not running into some monster because everybody's starting off with pretty much the same decks. There's very little modifications. There's very little changes. Some people do. You got to get it out of the box to do modifications or trade for the modifications. So not a lot gets done in that playing network when you're sitting there trying to set up. So basically, you're all on a level playing field when it comes down to the decks. And familiarity, you don't have familiarity. So you're pretty much, if you want to start playing and you want to test playing, going to like Destin's Rivals pre-release is a great way to just get a feel for what it's like to play. You just got fewer cards and people are all on the same tape or on the same level, so that you can be a little bit more chance to do well, and you can actually get a feel for it, and people are more willing to help too during those tournaments because it's just fun. It's us relaxing. We're not being competitive. It's just fun to do. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go through the chat real quick. We got Blitzkrieg. Thank you so much for dropping in. We got Pokey Newfo Exclusive. Thank you so much for jumping in on the live. Glad to see you in the live. iFomo here as well. Thank you so much, iFomo, for being here. Low Down Dirty 100. Thank you for jumping into the chat as well. And Antonio, their newest bod to the Northwoods TCG family. Thank you so much for jumping in as well. As always, I will go through the comments here real quick. I try and get all the comments. I think I've only had one day where I haven't gotten through the comments. So if you guys got questions, you want to talk about investing, you want to talk about sets, or if you got questions about things that maybe you want to throw it off the wall and have the chat also discuss it or get a different point of view on something, put it in the chat. I'm more than welcome to sit there and discuss that. Blitzkrieg says, yo. Pokey Newfo Exclusive says, I appreciate the live. You're always welcome. I always try and get here Tuesday. Lately, I've been pretty good at staying on Tuesday for that. Blitzkrieg says, got poked out and just went back to playing Pokemon Go, lol. Well, that happens. Sometimes it's just good to step away and just do something new for a while and then come back. It's always here. I mean, you could leave for a year and come back in 2 years even, and just kind of fall back in and do what you want to do. It might be a little bit more relaxed at that point in time too, depending on how the markets continue. iFomo has been ready for megas. Do you expect bigger price hikes even though megas are already inflated? Do I think that we'll see like the XY megas go up in price? I think that we could. Especially if we start seeing like the Gardevoir EX, the Charizard EXs, those stuff, or Charizard or Mega Charizards EXs and stuff, because you're almost falling in line with that XY. So if someone goes on a TCG player and puts Mega Gardevoir EX, they're going to get the XY and they're going to get the new one. So we're definitely going to have that crisscross when it comes down to it. So I could see that adding value to that older ones, especially when people start seeing the older ones. And it looks like, and once again, if you look at the new ones versus the old ones, there's definitely not a huge difference in them. Just looking at them, they look pretty similar with the full art look to them, a little bit more newer artwork to them, but realistically they are already there. So, yeah, and I've been seeing pricing too, pricing's been consistently going up on the megas anyways. And I think that with this coming out, it's really going to jump it even further. That's just, so if you were holding megas at this point in time, now might be a good time to catch some of those megas at this point in time and maybe look at going the other way with them